Hello guys, hope you're all fine. Today we are going to talk about variables and their data types as well. What are variables? Variables are something that changes the value, like that are varying in the values. Sometime, like for example, if I have a variable in programming, let's suppose it's called as a. Its value is 10, and in the same program I give the different values, like a is now 15. It is allowed because this allows us to change the value of the particular variable, and that is why we call them as variable. They are also, like you can say, a container in which you can hold your values. You can use the values of any data type. It does not matter like what type it is, but variables in general, in a very simple way, it means that some value that can be changed. This is one thing. Second thing, when it comes to variables, are there are going to be some values that we do not want to change, and that is going to be the constant variable, like, or a final variable. We will declare them as final, and we will not be able to change their values afterwards. I said that before, like it's going to be something that varying in the values, like they will allow us to change the value. But when it's come to constant values or constants variable, we will not be able to change those values. The simple reason is because some of the values, as a developer, he does not want to change the value. Okay, or another thing is, like, it's something that is a scientific truth, or that value is accepted worldwide. In this case, like if I would say that the value of pi is always going to be 3.14159 everywhere we go on this planet. So this is basically the simple definition of the variable, that is like a container that we can store our values in that, and then we can have different data types associated with those particular variables. We are going to learn how many different data types we have in a while, and I'm going to explain all that things to you, and with the help of the practical examples as well. So there are different data types. I'm going to simply talk about, in this tutorial, I'm going to talk about just the numerical data types. We have 6 different numeric data types. The first one is byte. The second one is going to be short. The third one is going to be integer, then long, and then float and double are also there. Byte is the smallest number or smallest data type that any programming language can support, and then long is the largest data type that it has. It is a 64-bit number, and then float and double are basically the numbers that is going to contain a decimal point in them. Like I have a value 10.99. By default it's going to be double, but if you want to define specifically to the compiler that you need a floating point variable, then you have to write 1.99 at the end. You just write f. Okay, let me show you all of this into a practical, and let's continue learning it that way. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, and let me just write the main method here for first, because it's the mandatory part of every Java program, and the shortcut for this in IntelliJ is P, S, V and M. Let me just write it like that. And here we have the types, or the variable in general. Like for example, if I have this int a is equal to 10. Now a is the name of the variable here, and 10 is its value. And if I do something like that, for example, a is 50, that is allowed because now I can change the value of that particular variable. And then if I try to print it out, the value of a is, so you will see that it's going to print out the latest value that we have given to this particular variable, not the previous one, because that has been changed. So that is the whole purpose of using the variables in programming, just like that. Also, there are going to be different types of the variable, and as you can see here, we got the output as 50, not 10, because 10 has been changed. So we got different numeric types as well. I'm gonna, in this lecture, I'm just going to talk about the numeric data types. Numeric data types here. The short, there are total 6 data types that we got. We are going to start with the byte. Let's say byte is 127, We are just giving any values like that. It is an 8-bit signed number. By signed I mean like it's going to start from negative 128 to positive 127. If I change just exceed one integer out of that, like it's now 128, before it was 127, so that means that I'm exceeding the limit of the byte because it's just an 8-bit number. And then we have short. So short b is equal to, it has also some range. It's a 16-bit number, 16-bit signed number here. So if I just try to exceed the limit of the short, just like that, and then I'm going to change it to integer. Integer is most commonly used. Integer is a 32-bit number in this case, and it's signed as well. It's go from negative 2 power 31 to positive 2 power 31, like that. It also has a limit here, and like for example, if I just try to exceed the limit of the integers, and for that I'm going to change the data type to long. Long is the largest data type that any programming language can support. That we have 64-bit here for this one, and you see it is still giving us an error. It says that this is an integer number, it's too large. So we need to tell the compiler that we are not using integer data type anymore, we are looking for long. So all you have to do is just write capital L at the end of this particular number, so the compiler will give us a 64-bit of the memory space for that. Then you will see that there are floating point numbers, the numbers that is going to contain the decimals point in them. Like for example, we have the float data type and the double data type, and by default it's going to be double. So if I write here maybe double d equal to 12.99, that is a 64-bit number. Okay, just like that, 64-bit number, 64-bit signed. Okay, it's going to be from negative to positives as well. And then we have float. So float f equal to, let's say if I write the same statement for double and the float, you see it's going to give us an error like that. It say that okay, required is float, but we are providing the double. So all we have to do is we need to tell the compiler that we are looking for floating data type, not the double one. So just write an f at the end of it, so the compiler will understand that this is a floating point variable. Then there are different ways of declaring the variable. Like if I am going to say int my int, like that, this is simply I am declaring, okay, and then I would say my int equal to 45. That is initializing. We are just initializing the values as well. Okay, if you have different variables that have the same data type, then you can declare them like that. Like for example, x, y, z, like that, instead of declaring them in 3 different lines. If you want to declare and initialize them with different values, you can just simply do that in one line, and that is kind of very feasible when you have multiple different data types, multiple different variables that have the same data type, like that. Okay, so this is the simple way of initializing the variables or using the variables. We talk about different data types and all that. So if you have any question, just let me know and I will be happy to assist you. Thank you and have a good day.